I think while we're just on this section as well, it's probably important to just highlight as well the importance of speed when you get these new inquiries, because yeah, a lot of the times we've seen companies that will deliberately leave it a day or two because they don't want to look desperate. You know, they don't want to look too keen, but it's absolutely the opposite. Sales
Absolutely
can be
right.
measured in seconds, and another thing that can happen as well is there can be a perception that these inquiries are no good. You know, because by the time they get speaking to them, yeah, they're just time wasters. Well, they're not time wasters. They've already had a conversation with another builder and they were really impressed and happy. Maybe they've even spoken to another couple of builders, which isn't ideal. But the point is, they don't really have the bandwidth to have another full-on conversation with another builder when they feel they're on the right track. So it can be very you can get a misunderstanding of the strength of your funnel. So when these inquiries come in, yeah, don't waste a second. You know, speed, and that's why a system like Kelly has is just so important, because it's automated and it's engaging, and it's a game changer.
And just a little trick to that too. The secret sauce is everyone expects an email ought to be automated because that's just how things work. But you wait 1 minute and then send them a text. And that looks organic. They didn't expect the text. And we will, even if we don't get a response from the text, then we usually wait a couple hours during business time and we'll drop a voicemail at that point as well. So you're right. You have to blow them away. If you're not responding within 5 minutes, you're going to lose the deal. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, they might respond to you a day later, but like you said, you're not the only builder they're talking to. So if they've already had conversations, if they already are hearing back from other builders and you're the last one in, you're going to be the first one out. I mean, it's as simple as that. I'm going to move into collecting estimating fees here. And Kelly, this is your formula. So we want to get into starting to collect for your estimating fees. So you ask these good questions, you've picked out the hot buttons, you understand what fears they have, good experiences, bad experiences, maybe no experience. And now what we're moving next is to, all right, this is how it works. We are going to start collecting estimating fees in order to get you the information you're looking for. So Kelly, this is essentially your process. 1/4% of the budget median number that you give them at the initial site visit. So why don't you walk us through this, what you offer them and how you ask for this money?
So after I've explained to them the benefit to our approach, and of course I'm not saying that to them, but once I've explained that and educated them on how our approach will solve any problems or concerns that they have, I then show them a chart that we call the project development chart, and show the various stages through the various parts of the pre-construction process. And it starts with this scope and range agreement, which we basically bill or sell as a feasibility study. And we explain to them what that is and what they get for that 1/4%, which is basically a preliminary scope of work based on what they've described to me. And then I tell them that I'm going to take what they've described to me, put it into a scope of work, and then I'm going to start to fill in the blanks. In other words, what other kinds of things or types of things have to happen in order to accomplish everything that they have described. Then what I'm going to do is take that scope of work and run just some very basic preliminary in-house calculations to determine the feasibility of doing what's in the scope of work for the preliminary budget range that we talk about in that first meeting. I tell them that I am not getting bids yet. I'm not creating a line item budget. These are just very basic preliminary calculations to determine that feasibility. Again, the feasibility of doing what's in the scope for the range we originally talked about. Then I tell them the next thing I want to do is try to hone in on and narrow that range a little bit. So what I will do is take them, the results of the feasibility study will be the scope of work. The value in that is that it allows them to see what I'm thinking aside from everything that they've described to me. The second thing is that I can show them a more accurate range of what their project is likely going to cost. If they are comfortable with the scope of work and they are comfortable with that narrowed range, so on your slide, you're showing that, and this is a scenario that definitely happens frequently, is someone will describe to me a kitchen remodel, and I will just say, okay, based on what you've described, I anticipate best and worst case scenario, your kitchen's probably going to land somewhere between 1 and 150. So after the feasibility study is done, I might come back and say, okay, after I've done all this work, your project is really more likely going to cost somewhere between $119,250 and $139,287. And they go, yep, we're good with that. The scope of work looks good. All of that, pretty accurately describes what we have in mind. So then we move into what we call the proposal preparation phase.